Professor Rosabelle to kindly take the charge and start on with the process of the workshop that we intended to start. You will be covering more on professional aspect and professionalization of translation activities, which is very important for us if we were to prevail at national as well as international level and play a major role as a translation industry in India. So may I request now Professor Rosabelle to please take over the charge and carry on. Thank you.
Right, I have come here with no intention of working at all. I have come here with the intention of making you work, right? So if you don't want to work, leave quietly now, right? I have some handouts for you. Can I do something which may seem a little bit strange to you? Can I give some to these people here, some to these people here, and ask them to pass them back when they have spare ones, and similarly starting at the back. The result of that will be very interesting sociologically and politically because it will mean some people won't have any handouts. I've got a solution to that. So if you could. Start from here. So I'm sending back. So can you get the people right here and the people right here there to pass forward? Since I'm a teacher with an awful lot of experience, I'm totally incapable of not speaking if I have an audience in front of me. So I'm going to speak. Right? What you're getting is a handout which tells you the exercise we're going to do. You should be divided into 4 large groups. I think you have been, and so we'll do that now. When you've run out, could I be rather schoolmasterish and ask how many people have not got, when they've all gone round, have not got a handout? Because what I'll do is merge those without with those who have. Is it really so few? Oh, amazing. We almost got it right. Right. Okay. Can I just quickly count how many there are? Because I've got to get the same number in each group. Raoul, could you make some more? Yes, but I don't know how many. Right. Quickly, the people who haven't got handouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25. Plenty of trees left. Well, not many. Okay. Where did they run out here? They ran out. Did you get yours from the front? Yes. Right. And can I? Oh, that's not. I'm not saying anything important. Did you get yours from the back? No, please. Please, I know what I'm doing. All right? I want to know whether you got your handout from the back or from the front. You haven't got one at all? All right. So they stopped here.
There was one, just came.
One from there, otherwise you're there. Who's got that? Go and sit with them. Just you. Okay. The ones coming from the front, did they stop here? You haven't got it, right? Those of you who have them, did they come from the front? Yes. And there's nobody without. Right? And yours came from the back. They came from the front. All of them. Did yours come from the front?
One person came and
Wonderful. There is a thing called Sod's Law, which in British English is Sod's Law, but in American English is Murphy's Law, and it says if anything can go wrong, it will. You see, this was a mechanism for dividing you into 4 large groups, but it has been screwed up. All right. Okay. Can I just check how many of you have handouts? You all have. Right, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. Okay, all right. Good. In that case, I'm sorry, this is a bit complicated. Can I ask those of you who have not got handouts to join a group that has? All right? Any way you like. The best answer is your answer.
I'm working for the agency, unethical.
So we are working, yeah, we all meetings, work for traffic, not
How to make contacts with other agencies which I get to honor them. Unless I sign this kind of a document where they want to preserve it. Then get into steps. Help them sort out the documents. But then they ask you to translate an unrelated document and who does that? We will finish quickly and then we can qualified and experienced.
Now, next stage. Would all of group A do the same? So that you form a big unit, equally as group C and group D. So get together, so you're one group. Stop, 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 stop. Group A, group B, group C, group D. Come on, quick, flashing by. That's good. But whoever is going to present should make a note of what you don't do, so that we have to come out too.
Translated a document about the specifications for a new computer chip and submitted the translation.
Have you heard it?
I did not ask you
Okay,
to sign
will do.
non-disclosure of information.
I agree with Ashok. Basically, we're discussing the fourth point here. It's about you're from a business background. You're going to a meeting, you don't have the information with you. You go to that meeting or not. So basically, we're discussing whether we should.
that's the basic.
Right, last one. Same one. You are going to the client. You know the client.
Well, you got a couple of minutes, 2 minutes. Can I stop you? Please stop. Everybody stop. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. Stop. All right. And we've really only got maybe 15 minutes to wrap all this up. Because there are other people who have come a long way after all. Let him have his say, and then we'll move on to group C and B and A. So, where you go?
Group D is assigned with the four issues. The first one is related to the sign language interpreter, and this is with regard to Mr. X and Mrs. X never stays. So since it is a never stays, raised to the life, it is necessary to intervene. But intervention simply saying it is wrong is not correct. We have to cite some sort of example. Yes, this particular sign language. I mean, the sign should have been interpreted like this. So with this particular argument, then they should say it's better that the interpreter of Mr. X should be changed. With regard to 14, since this is a case where union has suggested not to go for the translation after office hours, whereas there is a request from the police to do some translation. Now, police is supposed to protect the citizens. So in such a case, it becomes moral duty of any other citizen to help out. So the translator should not worry about the mandate given by the union, rather worry about the mandate which is much more human. And from the report, the police is asking for interpretation or translation, we should do it. Now 15th, which relates to English-French simultaneous interpretation, and this is some political conference, and the delegate is speaking in French, but not incomprehensible. In such a case, it is necessary to politely submit. Perhaps it would be better to speak slow, they are not able to understand. And even if things don't change, then perhaps it requires some better interpretation and so on. And so the whole issue is, if we have to intervene in such a way, it doesn't, one doesn't feel that one is being insulted. So that will be, have to be very cautious. If this delegate is speaking in French is not comprehensible, so we have to submit, perhaps sorry if we speak, it may have been better interpretation. So that is intervention needed with politeness. Then last one is Wall Street Journal, analysis of the policies of Korean president. As you know, Wall Street means in the US and Korea, they have been always having some difference ideologically. So the Wall Street Journal writes the economic policies as having no foundation, whereas it has been mentioned as they proved to be unfounded. So there is a difference in these two. So I think it is necessary that we have to interpret from the point of pedagogical differences between these two countries. So this translation seems to be motivated translation.
Thank you very much. That, if I may say so, is a perfect example of what we need to do. That was very, very clear, and it took exactly the right amount of time. All right, well done, thank you. There will be an opportunity, to...
I think there seems to be two opinions on this. I'm going to give you the first one. And the first opinion is that as an interpreter, we would not comply with the demand of the police to withhold information. And we will also, at the same time, inform our client what the policeman has requested of us. So that is number one.
Eat your words. Do each one the consensus, and then later we can have the second opinion.
All right.
Yeah?
We'll have all four and then we'll come back.
We'll have an appeal court. Okay.
On the second one, I would try to tell the policeman all the cultural differences that exist between my client and the police, so that he can be more sensitive to the cultural differences. On the third, our consensus is that as an interpreter, I would decline to play the role of an interpreter for a language that I do not understand completely. And on the fourth one, I would disclose to the police my interest. I would tell him that this person is my neighbor, he lives close to where I live, and if the policeman still wants he wants me to be the interpreter, then I will go ahead. So I would disclose my interest, and then let him decide. On the question 9, there is a second opinion. There are two opinions in the room, and I still don't understand the second opinion, therefore maybe I should pass it on.
Yeah, you have a minute or two to do it. Yes, come on. Yes, sure. Sure.
As well, so we have to be very clear of the parameters within which we are functioning. Because if in this particular state, as it is very clear that during the course of questioning, the officers say something that you don't have to tell the client, we have to be very clear of the legalities, if any, behind the situation. And we have to clarify this with the police before trying to interpret. And if there are any other legalities, we have to withhold the information. If not, go ahead. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Was there a second opinion about something, or did I misunderstand? That was it. Oh, good. Right, thank you. Okay, brilliant. Right.
Where we have translated the document about the new computer chip, we have decided that that we will not disclose the information, though we have not signed the confidentiality agreement, but we will not disclose the information for money's sake, because as the ethical translators, we won't disclose the information. Yeah, we'll keep the trust of our client and won't disclose. Okay, and about the second one, as we have reached the meeting and then came to know or discover that the individual our client works with is our family member. During the meeting, we will not discuss it, and after the meeting, we can disclose this information. And about the seventh one, about subcontracting the work to our colleagues, we'll see the legalities of the document we have signed with our client, and while transferring the work, we'll see that our colleagues also meet the legalities of the document, and only if it is necessary in the legality of the document to inform the client, we'll inform the client. Okay, about the fourth one, as our group is, I think, the biggest one, we couldn't discuss it. So, can we discuss it now?
No.
You can say your opinion then.
Please, miss, I haven't answered all the questions in this examination paper. Can I have some more time? No. Okay, stop there. Thank you very much. Right. Now, because of my incompetence, I managed to form 2 Group A's and a tiny Group D. So what I'm going to do is ask the representative of Group AA and Group AB to get together and see whether you can do a kind of joint presentation. I'm sorry about that, but could I have this A group's presenter and that A group's presenter, and could you come here so that you're together?
Agency. It's unethical to work for someone who pays you better unless and until you have taken the permission of the agency you're working for, because that amounts to unethical professional tactics. If the agency in its terms and conditions lays down that you would not work for anyone for any amount, it's better not to work for them. You can work if you go back to your agency, signing agency, and very honestly tell them that I have this lot, and if it's all right with the agency, and if the agency agrees, then it is all right to work. Otherwise, it is not. The second one is you're a qualified business translator, and well, satellite is also an area of information which may be protected for defense purposes. So the first thing is one has to find out what areas of information one has to give. Only then you should give, and ask whether the delegation has been recognized by the government. If it's not recognized by the government, well, then you will have to find out the procedural details so that you can give information as required. Would you like to speak on the next one? Yeah. Well, if you're offered an assignment, it's better to tell the people that you are not, it's better to tell the truth about the expertise of your skills. Also, if you could get some time from them, you can prepare, work hard on those skills, come up to the mark, only then take up the assignment, otherwise refuse. Then the last one, the fourth one is, well, if you don't have information relevant to the meeting, there is one way in which if for the business negotiation, if the company agrees, you can access to the information on the internet, or else if you do not get the information of the meeting beforehand, it's better to tell them that you will not be at your efficient best and decline the assignment, because it's better not to do an assignment half-skilled and better to do an assignment in which you have your expertise and skill. That's about all.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's really absolutely marvellous the way you cooperate, and I think you've got well done. Not easy to do. All right, now here, and field questions and comments from anywhere. All right? And I think Ravi's giving us about 5 minutes.
Question number 7 regarding translating of a document and which you subcontract your colleague. Actually, based on my experience of running a translation company, irrespective of whatever is said here regarding ethical practices, most of the time this doesn't really happen. If you are pressed for time, you just find your nearest friend who does translation and you do subcontract the work, but you don't really tell the translation agency. Because you think, as I can get away with that, all the agency is interested is in having a final document. But I think this is a really unethical practice, because what happens is when we start editing the document, 100% will come to know that this has been done by 2 different people. But if it has been told to us right at the start, then we could divide the document, and while doing the editing we can be extra careful. Especially if a tool like Trados is not used, it becomes very difficult to write the same sentence in the the same way if it is done by two different people. So what's based on what I've heard here is that all of us really like to be very politically correct, which is good, people applaud us. But what I feel is people should be realistic and honest also. So I think this point number 7, most of the time people don't really tell the truth. And one reason could be that most of the agencies don't do any editing of the document. So anyway, they won't come to know about it. So it just passes on in the channel and nobody comes to know. But it really becomes a problem for a good agency which does edit the document and doesn't know that has been done by a couple of different people. So I'd just like to hear the answer from Group B, whether I'm right or wrong about this.
You're very true and right. Because the quality of the work, if we are transferring the documents to somebody else for translation, it's our duty also to see, like you said, that if no agency edits it afterwards, so that they don't come to know. But as a translator, if we are transferring the matter, it is our duty also to check the quality, whether the matter which has been done by our colleagues, if we are subcontracting, is up to the mark or not. If we are not telling the client and if it is not in the legalities of the documents. But yes, on the first point, if it is there, I think if the agency makes it a point to make it in the document that it should not be transferred, then it should not be without the information of the client.
Regarding the ninth question, what if the lawmakers are lawbreakers? Okay, you supported the legalities of all the police officers and all that, but what if the police officer is doing in his own interest? Asking you to suppress something in his own interest.
See, in this case, it depends on the situation. You have to judge the situation. See, you have to judge the situation to be a good translator. I think it would be intelligent enough to judge the situation whether you should or you should not do it. It depends on the particular situation. You cannot generalize it.
I clarified that in the beginning that you have to clarify it in a direct dialogue with the policeman in question and judge for yourself whether he is found.
The only comment is that if you are an interpreter, then your role is to interpret what is being said and not make a judgment on the content or the legality of any of the points being made. So therefore, you should make it your role to explain to your client what is going on, because the client, that is what you are there for, and not make any judgment.
But in such a case,
There isn't there. Let's remember that if you're a policeman, your job is to get convictions. Alright?
In a police matter where a police is interrogating someone, I feel if I know the person they're interrogating, I would feel that it is unethical of me to function as an interpreter in that case, because I'm in a position to distort information if I feel like it. Or withhold information. You don't know on behalf of the person I know. I'm in that kind of a situation where I can withhold information or distort information depending upon if I have a personal interest.
Lies with the client. So they have to deliver to the client. And therefore, it is not right on the part of the interpreter to take the side of the police. We must keep that in mind. Yeah. I mean, not to pass on messages which are not appropriate for the client, because he's working for the client. That's right.
I don't want to take more than that because I'm very aware that we're beginning to eat into their time, and that's not fair.
For Group A, being realistic, I'm saying that in the question, it's written that translation sends you to a lawyer and the lawyer asks you to do the translation and he will pay you better. Being realistic, I have seen hundreds of people around who actually cheat the translation agencies. And here we are in a conference, so we are lying that we will be ethical and we will be we'll do what we'll go by translation agency. So it's really, I feel that we are all hypocrites. Let's just
at the end there. I'll bring you the mic.
Police station. She once starts wearing all saying offensive words. What do you do? So I would like one of the speakers, media was sitting over there, the group speaker, to please focus on this.
Your question, Dave.
Anyone?
Last question. Your question.
This question was not there. The question number 8.
Well, it's ironic I'm a police officer's wife. So I think I'll take that one out. There are lots of people who, when brought to the station, police station, I'm not blaming either the police or the person incumbent brought to the station, but a police station is a place somehow, it provokes a lot of negativity in anybody who steps inside. Anyone, I mean, the very fact that a policeman has brought a person in, whether for investigation or whether for anything, that person gets agitated, feels it's below his dignity. Why has he been brought to the police station? Feels that, you know, a lot of injustice has been done since he's been asked to come to the police station. Now let's look at it both ways. And that's why probably he or she becomes abusive, because as a natural reaction to the offense, you know, your offensive gear, you start abusing. So let's look at it like this. The police station is a very harassed place because the number of policemen dealing out with the number of population is very, very large. They are overburdened. They don't have families living with them. They're paid low. There are not even infrastructures in the police station that can deal with matters. On the other hand, the person who's coming inside the police station has already got his biased opinion that, you know, unless and until I abuse, I will not be let off. This is a creation that probably has come over from, I think, the time of before our independence, when the penal code was drawn and made, and we are terribly frightened of the police. We can wait at a bus stop. We can go to an education office. We can go to the office of the registrar, not get our certificates, run 60 times for our degrees, and yet we will be patient. Yet, when the same person goes to a police station, becomes very, very restless, becomes very, very impatient, and the person feels that we are going to mete out the worst treatment, so it becomes abusive. So what we can do, I mean, those people who are, or if I would be at the police station, is first de-stress the person who's come. They have just been brought in for a very minor question. So it need not have been so stressful as to be abusive. So it will take time when the orientation of the police station will change, and it will also take time when the orientation of the people will change, because Indians being stressed out, being low with infrastructures, tend to lose their cool and tend to be abusive at a shortest notice. And I think it's not only in India, it's all over the world, let me tell you. That people who are underprivileged in terms of economic and financial conditions become very abusive. And let's not blame it to their, you know, their temperament or anything. It's because I think lack of finances and lack of their resources makes them like that. Yes.
Or not. Forget the de-stressing part and all. You don't have time for it.
No, here in this question itself, they're not saying whether what would you do?
What would you do?
Yes. Yes.
Would
So
you interpret it or not?
yes, of course, de-stress them with your interpretation.
Would you interpret the offensive words?
No, not at all.
Sorry, can I stop you? Otherwise, bottom of the hander. Please, if any of this is useful to you, then use it. Right? This isn't private stuff. This is for everybody in the profession and our clients and so forth to have better lives and do things better. So please make use of these. If some of you are from the same place and can meet together and run a little workshop like this, taking up even these same questions, it will be a terrific thing to do. I hope what I've done is I've dropped a small pebble in a pool which will cause a kind of tsunami. All right? So let